My name's Tristan Robbins. I'm a member of the First United Methodist Church of Crossville. Before I got invited to church, I had not been to church ever since I was in elementary school. But I had spent most of my elementary school life not going to church, so I didn't know that I always had someone caring about me. So whenever I eventually got depression from not being able to know that someone was there for me. I felt like I didn't matter anymore over the course of my elementary school years. And eventually I got into my high school years and I just couldn't take it anymore. Whenever I was going through depression, I also had a friend group that I was really toxic to me, or for me. We joked about suicide and anything that we shouldn't have joked about, we joked about. So that was already adding on to what loneliness I felt. I was losing hope in life. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what I was supposed to do in life. I felt hope fleeing away from me. Like, again, I just didn't know what to do in my life. And I almost did throw myself into oncoming traffic as I was walking home one day. I was too scared to do it. And one day when I was just questioning myself, like always. One of my friends came up to me and asked me a question I never would have expected. They asked me if I wanted to go to church. In that moment, I was shocked. It didn't seem like it, but I never expected it. My thoughts went through my mind, like, what would they think about me if I did go? Could I make it? Could I go to church? Would they shun me for whatever I did with my life? I had to go think about it for the next day, and eventually, the next day I said, sure, I'll go. I'll see what I can do, because I didn't have any other options. What I got was a bunch of people that cared about me and wanted the best for me, even though they didn't even know me. They took me in and made me feel welcome more than I have ever been anywhere. And it was just so surprising to me. It was the best day of my life. I was so shocked and surprised that I just fell in love with it. And they eventually told me about God again, and I had forgotten all about it. My life turned better so much. I started going to church again, and I found people that cared for me, and found out that there is people that care about me no matter what I am or who I am or anything I've done. And God helped me that way. I didn't realize it at first, but He helped me along the whole way.
My name is Isabella, and I have a friend. His name is Tristan, and I invited him to church the same semester that I met him. And I remember we didn't really have any classes together, but we would talk after school a little, and sometimes he would seem a little down. I don't know what led me to invite him to church exactly, but one thing to remember is in God's kingdom, everyone is invited, and it doesn't matter who they are. It's easy for people to kind of be picky at who they like to talk to. Everyone has heard about church, pretty much. Everyone knows about God, but not everyone knows about His power. Not everyone knows about Jesus. Not everyone knows just how powerful all of that is. I think coming to church and being a Christian, it isn't about being a perfect Christian or a perfect person. It's not about doing everything right, but it's about knowing you're loved. And that's what makes me want to invite people. I want them to know that they're loved and seen. I started coming to the youth group in 7th grade. I really didn't know what there was to Christianity. I mean, I've heard about Jesus and I knew what He did, but I didn't know how that applied to my life, and I didn't realize how much there was to it. and it really leaves room for open discussion. I guess there was just something about the youth group and going to church that just stuck with me, and it made me want to tell everyone about it. Tristan, when I first met him, he was very shy. I would say not in all circumstances, but
In most circumstances, I was shy.
the fact that Tristan just came to the youth group was amazing. I like to say that we got lucky with him because most people wouldn't give it much thought. Most people would turn away the idea of going to church, but he was just so open to it.
Christians try to help each other, and we love everyone, so why would we not try to help each other? I didn't realize that Christians were like that.
We just want each other to, again, know that they're loved, because that's something to hold on to. And there are so many things in this world that fill you for a moment, but then they leave you hanging. And God is something that doesn't leave you hanging. And we all just like to remind each other of that. You never know how you touch people's hearts. It doesn't always mean to, you don't have to physically see Jesus walking on the water, or you don't have to see a burning bush with God's voice coming out of it. It can be something as simple as an invitation or a smile, or just telling someone that you're loved. Just a nice word or a kind act can be a miracle in itself. And when you're singing, or you're doing a magic show or a puppet show, or you're just telling your story, you can't always see the expression on people's faces, but they're definitely listening, and you never know what they can take from it.
People really do watch and learn from other people. Like, I've learned a lot of stuff from Isabella, actually. I've watched her as she worked and helped other people, and I try to do some things like her. Isabella has taught me that even in the worst people, there's always something good in people. Whether you can bring it out or not is another thing. But you should always be kind to people. Even if you don't like them, you can make someone's whole day completely change. Like with mine, whenever she asked me, my day was completely flipped over. I've also seen that there's a lot that we can do, even as just one person. Because us one person can inspire a whole group into doing something good for this world. I don't know where I would be if Isabella had not asked me to come to church. I mean, if I thought about it really hard, I probably wouldn't have made it this long. I probably wouldn't be here. And that scares me so much. I try not to think about this at all. First off, I always have to say this whenever I do something like this. Thank you. Because if you had, gosh, you have made such an impact on my life, if you know it or not, which you most likely do.
I mean, you never know what people are going through, and something as simple as a kind word can change their day or their life. It can start a new chapter. You just can't be afraid to invite them.
Because trying is one of the hardest things to do as a human, but it's also the most rewarding thing to do as a human.